The big goal of the year was to launch a two-stage to a high altitude. So the way we did that was relaunch our two-stage rocket from last year. So this is Stargazer. It had one failed flight last year. It had one failed flight this year, and on its third flight, it actually succeeded. So this was the first two-stage to fly at UIUC. Everything looked great with the flight. We got ignition, and that was all to test our staging mechanisms before we scaled up to our high altitude two-stage. So that's Kairos over here. Kairos is our 16-foot rocket, and this was projected to reach an altitude of about 80,000 feet for the summer. And we actually flew it at a test launch in Argonia, Kansas in March, and that was intended to fly about 30-something thousand. We actually did not get ignition on this rocket during that test launch, and that was due to a couple reasons. So from that, we've learned from our mistakes, we've made some changes, and we're actually going to relaunch this at FAR at the 5, 10, 25 competition. So that's an altitude-based competition, and again, for that, we're supposed to hit 80,000 feet, and we feel with the changes we made, it should work, and the fact that this rocket was designed for those motors that are going to be flown in the summer. Some other pretty cool things we've done this year is our student-designed altimeter, so that's Midas, and we actually collected data from this past launch, and that is how we tracked our sustainer down using the GPS coordinates from that. It was also capable of firing pyros, although we haven't actually done that yet. And then for recovery, we've also done vacuum chamber testing this year, which was very cool, to aid in some development of some of their systems and verify that things work.
We'll be once again testing our new recovery system. So we've implemented a new system from the ground up using Piranha line cutters and the Eagle to create ejection, which is really exciting. Something we've also implemented this year with our high altitude goals is the use of a vacuum chamber to test the reliability of our charges. One of my main goals as recovery lead this year was to make sure that we were thoroughly ground testing all of our systems. That's a really tough thing to do with recovery. Typically you want to just flight test. So working on our on-ground testing was a big goal of mine, and I'm happy to see that what we've done on the ground has been seen in the air as well, and we've had a lot of success. So I'm really proud of the team this year. One of the more technical skills that I've developed through this year is actually machining our own parts. So this was something I was able to do in our department. This will fly on our Kairos rocket this summer, and it is responsible for creating pressure, allowing the nose cone to pop off, and deploying the parachutes and the recovery system so that the rocket comes down at a right speed and not ballistic. So I'm really excited to use some of the knowledge that I have gotten from machining. I've also really grown as a leader. Spaceshot leadership is just full of surprises, and you learn how to handle all different types of situations that I've actually seen outside of engineering too. So I'm really excited to use some of those leadership qualities as well. And then just being a good engineer in general, writing documentation and encouraging good safety practices as well.
Working on the hardware has given me this hands-on type of skill that you can't get in a classroom, and it really helps me because I learned how to solder, I learned how to think of circuits and all this sort of stuff, and it really helps you imagine what the electrical components of a system look like.
In software, it is a very diverse team. So we have people who are very experienced and new members. So that whole dynamic of where you can learn while doing hands-on stuff and having a group of mentors who are much older than you, are very good with what they do, helps you just not with industry experience, but more with interview stuff. And in general, you actually grow as a person in the entire field of software. And you work with systems which are something that most people never dream of working until much later in their lives.
What I really like the most about Spaceshot is that the people are so different, and you get to learn so much from different people, a lot of whom know a lot more than you, but a lot of people are very humble, very kind, very fun to be with. And I think that culture is what makes this team special, is because it makes it so easy to learn. Within the first month, I had learned more than I had learned in an entire year of a different club. So
I just say Ad Astra, Spaceshot is gonna get to 80,000 feet soon.